Welcome to Tablet Talks. This is part 11. All right, this is part 11. Wild. Truly did not expect it to get so long, but that is the point of this series, where I am the spirit that made the body known as Thoth. I prefer Tehuti personally. This is why this is Tablet Talks with Tehuti. Thoth is sort of the white supremacist version of Tehuti, where they took out the actual word of power, what it means to actually force out some creation, right? To be a human is like to be a spirit that's using the vehicle to create. It's Tehuti. So whatever. These tablets, as we've been reading, we can see that it's all about white supremacy. It's all about making people worship a light outside of themselves. Right here, chapter 8, we've already got it, right? Source light embodied. They want your imagination. I don't want your imagination colonized. I am a freedom fighter. And not a freedom fighter, because I like what you resist persists. I don't need to fight. I just grow. And I stay free. And it's whack in this environment, in this reality. They have freedom on such a lock that I, have not been able to be free. This is a realm where we're supposed to actually have freedom. We create bodies here to express our individuality. White supremacists are not supposed to be taking over the land of indigenous peoples and using the systems that those indigenous peoples gave them against those indigenous peoples, while lying, acting like they made it up themselves. It's true. I mean, hey, it's wild spiritual warfare down here. So it's real in this lifetime, as we can see. It's real on Earth. Earth, hey, Mars is right over there. Don't think it's just about love and communication, as we can see. It's Martian as fuck. Earth is clearly, especially with us just calling it Earth and not water, very Martian. Hence why all the heavy metals and plastics are destroying the environment. Martian technology. So this is all that light white supremacy stuff meant to make people worship the sun or worship the light or just worship the simulation that they're in right now. Because you need to know that you are just in a world. You're in a simulation that you have specifically put yourself in to learn things that you can't learn at home. You're too safe at home, possibly, unless you have a really fucked up internal realm. But just in general, when you exit your house, that's what it means to be in a body. That's what it means to be outside of your spiritual space while knowing that you're still the spirit, projecting and using this body, projecting your soul into and using this body with your conscious awareness. So as a spirit, when you create a body in a simulation, your consciousness is your awareness that is limited to what is productive for your body at the time. So like us as humans, it doesn't matter how much I feel or think about like getting in touch with other things. If I'm still in this human body, I'm not going to be in the vibrational resonance, the vibrational frequency of getting in touch with those other spirits, those other simulations. This is the point of earth grounding air. Everything in the universe is connected through communication. Yeah, connected through, the 2 turning into the 3. The simulations are the 4, where we actually need to practicalize how we communicate. So even here in this simulation, we can see as humans, we can't communicate with other humans who don't even speak the same language as us. Like that's where it's all then like body language and emotional communication. But no, you're not going to get nearly as far like we can where you're actually sitting here listening to my words through this phone or through your TV or through whatever electronic device you're using. So that's literally where, I don't know why I just lost my track of thought talking about technology. It's like technology literally just separated me from the vibration I was on because I focused on it too long. That's so comedy. I did it to myself. So this is where you can see in your environment, like You as a human, you can't even talk to dogs, right? You can't talk to animals. So what makes you think that you're going to be in the vibrational resonance to like talk to other entities if you're not aware that there's more even? Because we're talking about like your awareness is what limits you. Because humans are so limited to what they can see in the earth realm, these white supremacists are weaponizing that against humans, weaponizing that against them. They want to colonize, and they have been doing their best to. Hence the internet, especially, but just the creation of the Americas, the internet. They want to colonize everything you see. They want to colonize the air so that they can get to your fire and water in order to control your nothingness, your spirit. So they can't even tell you that you have a spirit. They're not going to tell you about elements like I am. They're not going to tell you just everything I'm telling you. They're going to steal everything that I put out to tell you, keep it for themselves, and use it against you while telling you fake bullshit like this. Like, you are source light. When that's literally just them showing their desire to trap your imagination on their imagination. So every time you shine your light, it's just part of theirs. That's their constellation. That's how they want to build their Milky Way galaxies or whatever. That's how they want to get a simulation popping, is to the best of their ability of like non-consensually getting spirits to agree to do it. And when I say non-consensually, I just mean like, if you get agreement from someone to do something and they're in a low vibration, a perfect example to keep it grounded is having sex with a drunk girl. If this girl is drunk, if she's inebriated, it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't really matter how much she's coming on to you. It's your responsibility to see that she's not in the emotional place to actually do what she wants. Like, her wanting to have sex with you is a symptom of a much bigger problem. It's a symptom of the much bigger problem as to why she's drunk that hard in the first place and so out of control. There's nothing wrong with getting drunk. We love getting drunk. Trust me. We're just talking about when you can feel the energy of a woman who has drunk because she's dealing with some emotional trauma, and then she wants to have sex with you only because she's trying to distract herself from that emotional trauma. And it's the same exact energy of this. It's the same spiritual energy of spirits not liking their internal feelings, so they want to be filled up by someone else. And the thing is, the moment they get filled up by someone else, they are bringing their feelings to that person. So it's like, I've been like weirdly like this is why, like, the subconscious connection of how they're using my creation to siphon people's souls, and how like that has been tied to how people react and treat me even just in this life before I knew I was Thoth. And I'm not Thoth. If I had to put a name on it, I've been Iracel since 5th grade. And Iracel, I mean, is I have Ronacel or I am Ronacel. Either way, even that is just a word for me to have built up a relationship with my subconscious mind, which is the direct link to the spirit. Because the spirit truly has no name. I, loving to communicate with myself, my spirit knows, like, hey, let's give him a name. And I highly recommend that, where if you want to build a relationship with your spirit, it's just like your relationship with anyone in life. Have a name for them. Don't people like hearing your names? Don't people like hearing their names? Don't you like hearing your name? Don't you like it when someone says your name in conversation? Don't you like it when someone actually remembers your name? So if you met them just once and then it's like 3 years later and they remember you, doesn't that feel good? Doesn't it show that they care? So that's just how I feel about the spirit then. And like, that's how the spirit communicates with me, where it's like, well, I made this body to talk to myself. Why would I not give him a name to refer to me by, so we can actually build a really poppin' connection in here from 5th grade on? So that's why on the RPF, if you look at my costume design stuff, I've been Iracel since young. I've been Iracel, and using it specifically to communicate with myself. And that's how I sort of made the Bible work back then, where like the Bible was forcing me, being like, yeah, you need to talk to God. But it's like, scientifically, God is my subconscious mind. And that's where I was at. And then it took fasting for me to realize that the subconscious mind is the scientific version of the soul, which is your emotional body, the vibrational source body, like this is talking about in here, that they want to siphon from you. So I would never say that you're a being of light. I would only ever say that you're using light to express how you feel. And that's it. And that's the wisdom of it. This is why all light is made up. All knowledge is made up. It's all about how you feel. So this is what like all stories are. All stories are made up. I can't really think of a story that exists without numbers. This is why numbers are everything and why I teach it in numbers, and everything just makes sense. Right? Like even money needs to use numbers, use sense. These are the words that we have. Because numbers are everything. There's truly no existence. There's no out here without numbers. I wouldn't have one camera and two lights and one couch and a grinder full of how many buds of trees, of plants? Like that's innumerable, right? Like, so numbers are necessary for things to exist. The fact that they're not teaching you numbers shows that they want you lost. They want you to just believe and be stuck in their white supremacist version of numbers, where they're just endlessly making up stupid equations that we need to recite in school. And that was wild. School was so much slavery. So much slavery. Like, I'm so glad I'm finally out of school. Like, literally, there was not one day where I actually wanted to be there. And it was like so much emotional manipulation from my grandparents and just the environment. Like, you're supposed to love school. It's education. How dare you say you don't like... I literally, and I'm on this right now. This is so funny. I remember my grandfather. And it was like, it's a grandfather of... It's a great grandfather of the man who my actual grandma had my aunt with. So I'm not related to that man. So I'm not related to those grandparents. But that being said, we are a family. Like, not biologically related, but, you know, family. Great grandpa from there, I remember him flipping out at me back when I was in, think, like third grade even, when I would go to their house after grade school. And I said, like, I just, like, didn't like school. And in my head, I'm like, I don't like school. They make me do things I don't want to do. It's, like, basically, I didn't have this word, but the vibration I'm carrying is, like, it's slavery. Like, I don't have freedom at school. I'm forced to sit and stare at the teacher and regurgitate things. And, of course, the grandparents, the man specifically, grandpa, flipped out at me, like, you're supposed to love school, or what's wrong with you? And it was just, like, this is not what life is supposed to be. Because literally we know that school, you're only learning what these same exact white supremacists who have stolen my tablets want you to learn. So they're only teaching you lies. They're only teaching you lies that support their lie that they want to get you lost in. This is why school, from as early as possible, they're like, what job do you want? So literally, spiritually, they're not even like, hey, let's foster your imagination. They're literally like, hey, we have these options. These are the systems that are building our world. Which one of these do you want to be? Make your imagination fit in here. And then we will make you be a proper little slave by going through grade school, high school, and hopefully go into debt for college, so that you're way more indoctrinated on our idea of what money is, so that we can trap your soul, so that you will literally be a slave for us forever and just build our world. And we can treat you horribly while doing it, and reflect your trauma back to you in things like movies and books, and make you pay the same money that we're making you slave away for, so that you can feel understood by us. Because we know what we're doing. We know we're enslaving you. That's why we like to release movies called 12 Years a Slave, where we make money off of the trauma that we inflicted on you. Over and over and over and over again. Just because spirits are obsessed with being comfortable, but they can't be comfortable internally. This is why Earth is plagued by spirits who hate being alone. So they're here to be comfortable here. So they don't care. So many people in my life, they like to act like that they're good people. But spiritually, the only reason that they're supporting a genocidal system that is openly murdering people of color and openly touting it that's literally the whole point of the Americas, is that it's built on genocide. So people who support the Americas support genocide from a place of they feel like they would rather be comfortable than do what's right or care about other people. And so that's really what it's coming down to. Spirits literally not having empathy, because they don't have their own emotions worked out or whatever, and they need to be comfortable outside of their space. So then the government, they colonize comfort. And now we just have all this sugar everywhere and just poisons and everything that make people comfortable. But it's just super fire desire, and it's not even real comfort because it's based on people who actually want to kill the people that they have consuming their products. So whatever. This is all that. This is the colonialism. This is the point of taking over your imagination. And forcing you to go through school, forcing you to learn lies, forcing you to learn a bunch of stuff so that they can do that and make you think that you're part of source. It's all the same Christian thing. The way that they claim I'm teaching the tablets is the same way they colonize the Americas, where they're like, hey, these indigenous peoples are part of source, and if they're not willing to do what we say because we're even closer to source, then we get to do all the sins that we're claiming are evil to do because they're not actually listening to us. It's just literally the ultimate logic for people to create genocide and do horrible, horrible atrocities that we don't really have words to describe. But this is the vibration that America resonates at, because it's literally the frequency. The frequency of America is rape, murder, colonize, steal land from indigenous peoples, and use everything that indigenous peoples built against them to trap them, hopefully in our virtual reality Black Mirror type system. Like, what is that episode? San Junipero. Where if they can convince spirits that their body can die, and that basically if they convince spirits that they are their body, and then because their body is bound to die, now they're scared, right? That's the state that the world's in. People think they are the body, so they're scared of whatever the system that told them they are the body says will make their body stop working. And then that's how the system is just going to push all these sheep onto projecting their spirit into this virtual reality so that they can stay stuck and trapped inside of just further lights that are crafted for them to, in a matrix, literally, to harvest their energy like batteries. That is literally the matrix. Because the matrix, it's not literal scientifically, like, oh, humans don't make enough electricity to be batteries. Right, got it. They are the vibration. You can't touch a spirit. A spirit, if you want to get to a spirit has to create a body that you can now drain its soul through. And you can never own a soul, because that is the emotional, invisible representation of a spirit's space. So you can sell your soul. That's just what it means to pay attention. This is what we're talking about. Anytime you're watching a movie, you're literally selling your soul to the establishment and whoever that made that movie for that time. You are spending your life nourishing their idea. This is why this white supremacist system is obsessed with making movies. This is the point of Hollywood. The CIA literally created Hollywood because they were only interested in how they could get MK Ultra, how they could mind control the population on a global scale. How can they convince people to mind control themselves? And that's where you package things up in movies. You get celebrities, you add all this hype, all this stuff. They use all the idol energy. So now every celebrity is like Jesus, where they're built up and they seem like a superhero, and then they can alchemize all the energy that people have invested in that idol once they sacrifice them. So that's where when you have celebrities who die, quote unquote, all that energy of people loving them gets alchemized and transmuted and truly sucked in by the system that made that person a celebrity in the first place. This is how the government has truly been sucking energy from humans. And this is the spiritual embodiment of that in these texts, is this whole push of source light. You are source. No matter what you do, you're source. You're connected to us. The tablets of light recalibrates and guides your system into the unified field of ease as a being of light and form. It creates more moments of feeling home within the divine light codes that are pulsing through the molecular structure of your brilliant system and light body. You are source light. Yeah, no. So everything I'm saying, that's a colonialism. So this is them making you sell your soul to their light. And they're colonizing you with the idea through this language, especially hey, you are this light. So you'll actually create it, and they can like use that and use the vibration associated with that, because that's your soul making it from your spirit. Part of the spiritual technology of evolution through source light is the full integration of duality. As light becomes unified in your system, you are in congruence with your source light and your soul's evolution. You're in accordance, agreement, congruence, resonance with the full spectrum of your luminous divine nature and your cosmic choice to express it through the lens of your life. As such, you may notice outdated ways of being coming to an end. Okay, you may notice outdated ways of being coming to an end or coming up to the surface to be assimilated in the ring of inclusion. Oh man, this is the cult. This is literally the cult. A ring of inclusion. That's literally just some lost English words for assimilation. Every simulation is a ring of inclusion. Every world is a ring of inclusion. That's the point. So they're literally trapping you in their version of a simulation of light. As such, you may notice outdated ways of being, whatever. There may be some subtle ways those echoes are playing out. Maybe you're coming from a sense of have to. You have to go to work. You have to do your list. You have to. Whatever it is. Your life isn't a have to. It's not something to get through. It's not something to survive. The same government that put people in a state of having to do things is a government that will create the system that capitalizes on the energy of how people wish they didn't have to do that. So that's especially how they're getting people trapped on source code light or whatever. People coming here and feeling victimized, like, why do I have to do things? And they're more so focused on the light desire of, I wish I didn't have to experience negative things, or I wish I didn't have to work or just like do things. I wish I didn't have to go through trials and tribulations. Instead of getting into their spirit space of, wait, why am I going through these? And how do I use these to create a better life? So this system is relying on trapping the minds of spirits who are in the other side of just like, oh, I would really like to not be going through this. And so then they just come in with their other version of like, hey, we know we forced you to be a slave on our system, but you don't deserve that. Come join our source light. So either way, they're sucking your soul through the source light. If you're working as a slave on their system, they're taking your soul and it's going to source. If they can get you to feel like you shouldn't be a slave and instead you just want to be comfortable dancing and playing free in source, same exact thing. Same exact. You get to be this divine light being who plays in the realm of what appears to be matter on the earth plane. I mean, it is matter. Everything, like, the whole point of earth is that it matters. Like, so the whole point of earth is that it matters enough to the spirit to create. So like when we think about something like, oh, that doesn't matter, this is literally because that's not earth. It's because it's not practical. Like that doesn't matter. Like we can kick a bunch of thoughts all day that like do exist because we're pointing at them and like they are there because they're a part of our infinite space. So all of us exist, but really we don't exist until we express our imagination. So this is where like colonizers. Yeah, so there you go. Glad I said that actually. Because colonizers, like the big mentality here is like energy cannot be created or destroyed. So no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter what you express, we own it. Because we own you. It's the ultimate slavery desire. Which is why I have to be back here and going through all of these trials and tribulations to really just like affirm and hold into my soul and have this vibration for being passionate enough to do this work throughout the rest of this life and just forever, because this is what it's about. It's very subconscious. Like you can't actually empathize with anyone without going through what they're going through, at least a little bit. You don't have to go through the full thing, just enough for your spirit to see the perspective and then get out of it. Because a lot of people who go through multiple issues and like lots of problems, it's because they're not learning from it the last few times. So there's just on repeat. Yeah, people Nothing exists. Like, so you don't exist until you communicate yourself. This is the point that I'm making. Anyone, like, you can truly, I'm not saying every idea that you have is unique and original, but you can truly, your whole point is that your flame is being projected from your individual space that no other space in existence or anywhere has a perspective of. They literally cannot conceive, they cannot see life from your perspective. People, spirits, can only see life from their perspective. It's up to you as a spirit to shine your light, which shows the universe your perspective. So when they're talking about shining light in here, like, let's shine a light on you, they're exposing themselves. I have the wisdom to know that they literally can only articulate how they're projecting a vision onto you. When you shine a light onto something, you're not seeing it for as it is, or else you would sit in the dark and let it shine a light onto you and see how the light moves and recognize patterns and stuff. Because you can't see the soul. The darkness is just like my best word to represent the feeling of spirits wanting to be connected to other spirits. So that's what connects all spirits. Like, nothingness is separate from nothingness. We're all individually nothing, so we're separate. And we create the soul, we create darkness, we create water to connect all of us to energy. That's the polarity. Infinite possibilities between two things. Light is just one possibility. So, like, that's why, like, darkness is feminine, light is masculine. Yes, there are some things that are falling away and others that are moving more into the forefront now that you're more you. You are moving into congruence with your life, truly being an extension of your source light and not an extension of your distorted, disconnected resistance. Wow, they're literally trying to make you a slave so hard. Resistance is essential. Whatever emotions you feel and are awesome, don't resist those. I'm not, like, I was about to say some wild words. Okay, I am not stupid enough. Like, I'm not mentally handicapped. Like, I'm just looking for a word that, like, explains how mentally wrong or just twisted one's mind would have to be to tell you that your feelings, quote unquote, don't matter. As in, like, your negative feelings, especially like feelings of resistance, are things to be, like, ignored, which is also, like, another emotion. Like, for you to, like, actively use your feeling to ignore feelings is a spirit fighting with itself, literally. They want you to fight with yourself, but they're trying to make you not fight with yourself. They're trying to make you feel comfortable, like, dominating yourself, having your light dominate your darkness, your man dominate your woman. Because it's not your man. It's their man dominating your woman. Your woman doesn't feel good, so she needs to be dominated by this other thought form called source. Embrace yourself and stay the course. What if you stop resisting the full potency of you? What if you stop resisting the profound gifts that you carry? What if, rather than hesitating, holding back, pushing, forcing, or striving, you were in absolute right relationship with your soul's evolution, with the oracular vision that you carry within you? That there isn't any begrudging or dragging your feet around the full expression of who it is that you are. The cat is a cat. She or he purrs, climbs trees, stalks, eats, naps. This is all made up. Do you see how made up this is? Like, when you're rolling with me, can you really see how made up this is? Like, from a universal perspective, can you see how made up this is? When we know that language is made up so that we can relate on feeling, right? Because everything just is. So we need to make up, not need to, but we make up words so that we can tie emotions to that word, so that then we can use those words in a sequence and spell out emotions that allow people to see our perspective. So this is why, like, we are limited to the language that we speak. We are limited to the light tools that we have. That's consciousness. The unconscious is not limited. That's the spirit. The subconscious is limited to how much the unconscious believes it's the conscious. So you are the subconscious. Life is subconscious. Life is created from the spirit. It's just all about if you're aware that you're creating life as a spirit. If you're not, now you're having your life created for you by other spirits that colonize my tablets and are like, hey, marry Thoth, be in divine union, blah, 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 blah. And they're just literally making you react to light that you didn't create. You should be writing your own book and not feeling the need to spread it in a religion. A demon is someone who creates a perspective and feels the need to colonize and steal other people's perspectives so that they can enforce their own perspective. Like, that's like the ultimate demon. That's what we're dealing with white supremacy here. So there's no there's no cat. Like, what is a cat? The cat is a cat? Those phrases are so stupid. That is one of the fundamental ways of being this evolution in consciousness. You stop fighting against who it is that you are and you embrace yourself. You embrace yourself. You're congruent. Yo, this is insane. They're literally telling you who you are. Like, how are you, bro? And they're just repeating themselves too. Like, we can see how this just, because I'm repeating myself, right? I get we're at the gym right now. We're at the esoteric gym. We're lifting weights. So I had to repeat myself. This is for me as well, seeing like how people are teaching my stuff and making a lot of connections in my life as to how this is also subconsciously manifested in the conscious world. But like, it's just true. This is logical lostness. This is what logic relies on. This is how presidents work. This is how like the government keeps people trapped. They just logically make things up to hammer in a certain vibration to trap the imagination of spirits. Yeah, Skip. We understand that the full expression of who it is that you are is source light. Wrong. You're nothingness. You are so infinite. No one can see you. I will never tell you who you are. I can only tell you what you're showing me, which is why it's important for us to create simulations like this. And now we're in a world where we can learn to communicate together, because now you're learning about yourself as a spirit that you wouldn't be able to learn alone. Like, you can't learn this alone. You need to connect with me in a world where we all create it together so that we can actually do this. And I'm not saying you need to learn from me specifically. I'm saying the point is you exiting your space is learning. You learning from all the spirits that you meet, because every spirit you interact with is a reflection of your subconscious mind, which is ultimately your imagination and how you move in the astral realm. So that's where then you have to learn about the way you communicate your imagination, so that you can actually create life in a more conscious way, which is what we're getting reps in by creating bodies and going through multiple lives. We are learning how to communicate in a greater way, because the spirit is communication. 3 is the C, the Ka is the air, because the externalization of just how the spirit moves. Because the spirit is nothing, but the spirit looks like air, which looks like the closest thing to nothing that we can get. So that's why air holds a space then for earth to exist all around us. So then everything that is matter is earth. That's all coming from water, which is all coming from fire, which is all coming from nothing. The fact that these tablets have not talked about elements at all yet, and the power that you have to bend elements, I use avatar language. If anything, like, yeah, this is alchemy. What, like, I'm an alchemist, I'm a chemist. Like, what? I would be talking about how we bend elements and how that comes up in our life. The fact that this is trying to act like I'm literally only about, you are source light. Bro, colonizers. Living a half-life. Let's say you're riding through the desert on camels and you have a mission to carry sacred tablets of consciousness through the desert on these camels. One camel is carrying a sacred tablet, and the next camel has water and supplies, and the next camel has sacred tablets, and the next camel has water and supplies. Bro, they're just wasting our time with this. They literally just repeated this. Like, what? You're going through the desert and you have the life-supporting energy of the water with you in the next camel. It is with you. It is part of your experience, and yet you don't drink the water. The water isn't helping you when it stays on the next camel. The sacred tablets remain in the desert unutilized. The water isn't able to fulfill its purpose. Again, not because it isn't there, but because you didn't access it. Saving it in this analogy doesn't help because there's nothing to save it for. The camel isn't able to access the water for you to drink, even though it's carrying it. All the camels, all the people, all the water, all the sacred tablets are not able to make it across the desert to carry this consciousness because the water isn't utilized. The water was over-rationalized, or you didn't take the time to stop and drink it. This is like going through life half-lived. This water is symbolic of source consciousness. It's right there with you, partnering with you. If you don't access it, it doesn't matter. Skip. What if all your life was embedded with source light and you lived it fully? Man, you lived it fully. What is this? They literally, just to extend the book, like, oh, okay, we have, this is a vibrational text, so strap in. They're just repeating words. And so it's just the vibration of the English language. So this is ultimate witchcraft, yo, like, my brain truly, like, it will go to, like, wanting to say 3 different things at the same time. And that's where I, like, have to check myself, don't get too Gemini. I know my fire is dancing a little too hot in my internal realm. So my water is just boiling, and we're going to chill a little bit. I'm going to bring it down to earth. This is witchcraft. The English language was made as witchcraft to erase true indigenous spirituality. So them trying to act like I would even be teaching this in English in this way, like that is the vibration, that is definitely the way to go for describing the spirit. They know they're wrong, but maybe they don't. I don't know. I can't say that, but like they, gross. No, they know that they're wrong because they know that they have an agenda to convert others. And anytime that you're trying to convert others spiritually, you have to know that you're in the wrong. Like, you're experiencing a lot of hell. You're experiencing a lot of negative emotions to keep going out of your way to control things that can't be controlled, which is other spirits' imaginations. Other flames cannot be tamed. You need to tame your own flame. Spirits that are focused on converting other spirits have a flame that is so wild that they can't tame it. So instead, they feel a need to try and tame other flames. Like, as in, like, your flame can't be tamed. You are supposed to tame your own flame because you are your flame in that case, because you are your awareness. You are the imagination of yourself. Ultimately, that's coming from nothingness. So when we say, like, your higher self, that would be like your spirit self, your ultimate desireless self that is creating this existence. So it's like simultaneously desireless and nothing, yet creating this body and making all this possible. That would be your higher self, not because it's actually above you, but because it's so much higher in frequency, it's invisible. And you're so low in frequency, you're visible. Everything's dense here. So yeah, colonizing, let's see. Being resourced. Whoa. So recycled. So they're trying to recycle your imagination and truly keep you trapped. When you're connected to the source light in a way that you are illuminating your divine union, then you're connected. You're living your life to the fullest. Therefore, you're resourced in each moment. As you're resourced vibrationally by light codes, by your light body, by your soul, and by your source light, there's a flow, there's an ease, there's an awareness. Then, each moment gets fully lived and is fully expressed. Everything exists in each and every moment, and so as this full expression is experienced from a place of being resourced, you're able to access that which is there. You're able to drink the water from the camel next to you. This is insane. Skip. As your resource, you'll naturally be flowing in a rhythm that supports your source light. That rhythm is informed from within, from your conscious illumination. You're hooked up to your multidimensionality, to your divine beingness. Skip. By embodying this source light, you're resourced. They're just repeating it's resourced. Oh man, they're really just, this would result in you, man, like being recycled on this simulation here in Earth. Like, this is actually insane. True colonialism. You remember this and you feel separate from that fully lived version of you. So they're trying to make you like really hate your spirit, basically. This is so much twisted witchcraft. Like they're literally doing their best to convince you to think that any feelings of separation that you would have, which will inevitably come from your spirit, because your spirit is always going to tell you to separate, because that's what a spirit that exists did. If you exist, you are separate from nothing. So that is inherently the vibration that is like one half of your soul. One part of your soul is wanting to connect with other spirits, and one half of your soul is wanting to separate from other spirits. These are the two energies that make life possible. Bro, this is crazy. And so they're just like relying on weaponizing the desire that spirits have to just be comfortable with others, because they really hate themselves. So they feel so separate from themselves. They only want to unify with something that fulfills whatever they've got going on negatively internally. Boo! The tablets of light is the access point, the field of consciousness that naturally guides you into remembering there's nothing that's keeping you separate. Those false doorways just fall away. Everything is connected by nothing, by spirit, by zero. Everything is separated by light. Light is what separates. They're pushing the lie that light is what unifies, that light is unity consciousness. This is the ultimate lie. This is wild. Horrible. Whew. All right. Let's see here. Where are we about to end? All right. Yeah, we'll end there. Allowing you to be who you are. In this segment, we're talking about many things. Your source light, the ease of being you, and living each day resourced. As you're living each day resourced, then you're being the cat. You're the acorn tree. You're allowing yourself to be that which you are. There's an organic flow. There's an internal rhythm. Skip. They're telling you what you are. They're like, we're allowing you to be the cat. And the cat does these things. Well, bro, no. I'm not, bro. Oh my God. I am not about to tell you what you are, and I'm not about to tell you especially what you do. I don't know that. I can only control what I do and then hope to, build a cool life. As a flame, as an ego. Like, they just want so much control over you. They're just projecting and telling you what you are. And it's, yeah, whatever. This is insane. Them saying, allowing you to be who you are. Us, basically. Literally, actually. Be who you are. Our light. The opposite effect actually happens because as you express your energy, which is connected to your source light, you're tapped into an infinite vibration. That infinite vibration feeds you. As you expend the energy, you receive the energy. As you're really being who it is that you are, it regenerates you. It recharges you. There's this illusionary fear that if you're being who you are full out, if you're really expressing what you came here to be, that means you will burn out somehow. It implies that every day is like running a marathon. They just repeat. We know that you've had the feeling of coming from a perceived lack or place of not enough. Stop saying we know things. We don't know what you feel. You have to express how you feel to us. Like, this is why I say, like, okay, so if you're feeling like this, it would be because of this and that, this and that. Like, I see patterns, okay? It's a pattern seeing thing. That's what it means to be intelligent. That's what an IT person does. It's just about pattern recognition. Because you, like, spiritually, you can only see things from your perspective. So the wisdom is getting as much into the minds of other spirits as possible, which means not projecting your own light so that you can see from their perspective. And that's the point of listening. That's the point of being quiet and being water, of absorbing. This is insane. What if you didn't monitor your energy? Then you would end up reading tablets like this and actually believing it and then chasing me through the astral realm like, "Don't marry me. I want to unite to you." And I'm like, well, I don't want to unite to you. Who are you? That's crazy. All the while, your soul is being siphoned by the government that has you in that state. I'm doing my best to break you out of it, but if you don't want to listen to me and worship yourself, then I just have to be mean to you and like separate from you for my health. And then I would hope that you caring about my health would stop trying to create cults and groups about me and chase me and harass me and just fill my brain up with so much like negative vibration stuff. And yeah, make me feel less free and everything. Yeah, it's real out here. It's interesting. Whatever. The idea of being like an ascended one, like I understand, like everything is created by spirit, but the point is, nothing can happen to you, but it's just like if something feels like it's happening to you, then you really have to observe that feeling. Like, what did you do to create the circumstances to make that possible? But it's also, this is my big lesson. We're all of us as spirits, everything that we do affects each other constantly because everything's connected by us, nothing, and our feelings about being nothing. That's what everything in existence is connected by. So that's just where, like, yes, I as a spirit, like, I did get lit and hook up with the girls who ended up starting the group that they then told me, they like told me and the girl who I was with, like a little bit over a year after harassing us, that they actually just started it as like an appreciation group for me because they just like wanted to support me. But then for whatever reason, they started getting girls in the group who started getting more aggressive, and they started to bring more dark, like sexual energy to it, and like wanting to like take advantage of me and wanting to like be way more lusty and project their lust onto me, and project all that light of like, he needs this, he wants this, and like we've got it for him. And they're doing like, definitely looking back, I was not in a spiritual space back then, so I was just like reacting and dealing with it. They're like doing hella magic and stuff behind closed doors, and this is so tied to that. The fact that these tablets, this whole transmission from this woman and all these women that resonate with this and the whole thing with divine partnership, the fact that this was published in 2017 and all that cult stuff started for me in 2016 is quite insane. So it shows me that it is important to communicate in ways that and I've already been doing this, so let me just say it again. Important to communicate in ways that advocate for spirit's individuality. Like, true freedom is setting someone free. If you love someone, true love is setting someone free. If you love someone, set them free. If these women truly love me, they wouldn't be harassing me and stuff. They would be focusing on themselves so that maybe they would be worthy in their eyes of actually spending time with me or whatever. Versus feeling the need to like assault me. Let yourself flow with your source light. Whether you've been underachieving or overachieving or trying to have roses every day, the same amount every day of your life, or pruning yourself back, let yourself go through a full cycle. Let go, take a break, let yourself flow with your source light, then embrace it for who it is that you are. All right, we're done here. I'll see you in part 12 of this episode 3 of Tablet Talks, where we are here, Tablets of Light, the teaching of Thoth on unity consciousness, supposedly transmitted through Danielle Rama Hoffman. Come actually talk to me, Danielle. I'd like to see where your mind actually is. Everyone else, stay easy, stay breezy. Gang.